Shalom. Before I begin this talk, I want to give all praise and esteem to the creator of everything, the king of all, Yah. That is his name. The image says why I don't fear Yahusha. Yahusha, Yahawashai. Let's just keep it real. This is no more than Jesus himself. Give him any color or any name, still Jesus. So let me ask you something. Do you believe every person who claims to speak for Yah? Probably not. So how are we supposed to know whether a prophet or anyone claiming divine authority is actually speaking the truth? Well, Yah already gave us the standard. Deuteronomy 18:22. When a person speaketh in the name of Yah, if the thing follow not nor come to pass, that is the thing which Yah hath not spoken. The prophet hath spoken it presumptuously. Thou shalt not be afraid of him. It says that when someone speaks the name of Yah and the thing doesn't happen, Yah didn't speak it. That's not my standard or yours. That's the standard written in the Holy Scriptures. So why are we taught to make excuses when a prophecy doesn't come to pass? Why are we told to reinterpret the words? Why do people become afraid to ask questions? Yah said not to be afraid of the one who spoke presumptuously. He didn't tell us to defend that person. He didn't tell us to change the meaning of the prophecy. He told us to examine whether the thing actually happened. So let's take a look at Revelation, last book in Revelation 22:7. Behold, I come quickly. Blessed is he that keepeth the sayings of the prophecy of this book. The question is, what sayings are we told to keep? The book directs people toward the worship of a human lamb, a God-man presented as divine. But where did Yah himself ever say that Jesus is his son? Think about that question before answering from tradition. Where did Yah say it? Not where did a disciple or church or religious council say it. Where did Yah himself say it? Man made that claim. Religious institutions repeated it, and generations were taught to accept it without question. Now millions of people believe it because their parents believed it or their pastors preached it, and the churches, they place it at the center of their faith. But does repetition make something true? Of course not. Does placing a statement inside a religious book automatically mean that Yah spoke it? No. We got to be honest. If Yah didn't speak it, then no preacher, apostle, priest, denomination, or council has the authority to place those words in Yah's mouth. Now take a look at this. Revelation 22:12-13. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according to his work shall be. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. You see what's happening here? This speaker is using titles that belong to the Most High. But what did Yah already declare? Isaiah 44:6. I am the first and I am the last, and beside me there is no God. How much clearer can that be? Yah didn't say beside me there's another divine person. He didn't say beside me stands my equal son, or I am the God expressed through several persons. He said, beside me, there is no God. So let's ask this question plainly. How can another being stand beside Yah, receive worship, carry Yah's titles, and still not be another God? People may call it a mystery, but does that make something true? Does it erase a simple declaration from Yah? Yah said there is no God beside him, and he doesn't change. That should settle the matter. And he didn't say it just once. Deuteronomy 6, 4, and 5. Hear, O Israel, Yah, your power is one, and thou shalt love Yah, your power, with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. Notice how that begins. Hear, O Israel. In other words, you got to listen and understand and take this seriously, that Yah, our power, is one. So where is room for another? Where is room for Jesus, Yahusha, Yahawashai, or anyone else to stand beside the Most High? Where is room for a second figure to actually receive prayer, worship, esteem, trust, or divine titles? Nowhere. People claim that they worship one God, but then they pray to another figure. They sing to him, they call upon his name, they say salvation comes through him. They give him titles that belong to Yah. Then they have the nerve to insist that this is still the worship of one God. But truthfully, if you worship two persons, speak of two persons, or give honor to two persons, what are you actually practicing? Idolatry. Calling a man God does not make him the creator. Calling someone the Son, the Word, the Image, or the Lamb doesn't erase what Yah already said. Beside me, there is no God. So now let's examine this statement here in Revelation 22:20. He which testifies these things saith, surely I come quickly. That was written approximately 2,000 years ago. So let me ask this question that people are often discouraged from asking. What does quickly mean? Does it mean 2,000 years? So if I said to you, I'm coming quickly, would you expect me to come like a couple thousand years later? No. Yet when it comes to this prophecy, people are trained to change the normal meaning of the word. They say quickly does not mean quickly. Or the prophecy is still true even though generation after generation has lived and died waiting for it. They say the delay is part of a mystery. But why are we changing the meaning instead of applying the standard Yah gave us? Remember, if the thing follow not nor come to pass, that's the thing which Yah hadn't spoken. That's the test. So which will we trust? The plain standard from Yah, or the explanations men created to protect a prophecy that did not happen as spoken? This is not about insulting anybody or hating people that believe differently. Because many of us, I used to be there. I was there for 40 years. But many of us inherited these beliefs before we were old enough to even ask questions about it. We heard them from people we love, such as your aunts, your uncles, your fathers, your mothers, your whomever, your pastor. You know, we were taught that questioning these things meant questioning Yah himself. But what's wrong with that? Didn't Job question Yah? Yah will either answer you or he won't. It's as simple as that. He said, come, let us reason together. So if you're reasoning, don't you think some questions are involved? But what if questioning men is how you return to Yah? What if the real danger is not asking questions? Because the real danger is giving another being the worship that belongs only to the Most High. Why would Yah be offended because you tested a prophecy according to his own words? Why would the Creator need pastors or theologians to redefine statements that did not come to pass? So stop being controlled by fear, the fear factor. I've been there. Oh, if I don't have Jesus, I'm going to die and go to hell. Hogwash. Not true. Stop believing something simply because our families believed it. And stop assuming that a teaching must be true because millions of people accept it. Well, millions can be wrong. Look at Zechariah. Was it 18? 13 and 8? One of those, I think it's 13 and 8. 2/3 of Israel not going to make it. That's a lot of people. That's a lot more than millions. But so religious institutions can and will be wrong. Traditions can be wrong. But Yah remains Yah. Remember, he says, I am Yah. I change not. So it's time to wake up. It's time to test what you've been taught. Stop giving Yah's titles, authority, esteem, and worship to a human lamb, and repent and flee idolatry. Return to the Most High Yah, your power, to the one who was worshipped before churches and councils and empires taught nations to, bow down before a sun god. Return to the power of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. That's what he said. His name is going to be remembered forever as the power of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Not to a substitute, an image, or a human deity. Not to a prophecy that requires endless explanations on why it didn't happen. You have to try to say, well, this is why, or it's going to happen. You just have to just trust and believe. No. Return to the one who said, I am the first and I am the last, and beside me there is no God. Hear, O Israel, Yah is one. Shalom.